Spain just turned its back on American steel and chose Turkey instead. For 70 years, Madrid flew what Washington sold them: F-18 Hornets, American engines, American approval for every upgrade. But in 2025, Spain is eyeing the Turkish-made KAAN stealth fighter, a jet most Europeans have never heard of. Why would a NATO ally consider swapping the F-35 Lightning II, the most advanced fighter jet on Earth, for an unproven Turkish prototype that's only flown a handful of test missions? The answer isn't about performance, it's about control. Washington builds the weapons, but Washington also decides who uses them, when, and how. Spain is tired of asking permission. Lieutenant Colonel Rafael Moreno stood in front of Spain's aging F-A-18 Hornet fleet at Torrejon Air Base. The jets were over 30 years old. Maintenance costs were bleeding the defense budget dry. He'd submitted upgrade requests to Lockheed Martin 18 months ago, still waiting for approval. He looked east toward Ankara and realized dependence has an expiration date. Spain's Air Force operates a fleet that's falling apart. The F-A-18 Hornets are 3 decades old. The AV-8B Harriers deployed on Spain's Juan Carlos I aircraft carrier are nearing retirement by the early 2030s. Replacement was urgent. The logical move? Join the F-35 program, the 5th-generation stealth fighter used by NATO allies worldwide. But there was a problem. Every F-35 component is locked under US-controlled software, maintenance, and upgrade ecosystems, what defense analysts call the sustainment monopoly. Spain would buy the jets, but Washington would own the access. The KAAN fighter rolled out under Ankara's stadium lights, angular, aggressive, gleaming like defiance wrapped in carbon composite. It looked like an F-22 Raptor's rogue cousin. Turkey had been kicked out of the F-35 program in 2019 for buying Russian S-400 missiles. Now they were building their own stealth fighter, and Spain was listening. Ankara's pitch was surgical. Unlike the F-35, the KAAN software and mission systems aren't locked under foreign control. Spain wouldn't just buy jets, they'd gain operational sovereignty. No US approval needed for software updates. No dependency on Pentagon logistics chains. No waiting months for diagnostic tool access. Madrid wants to avoid being trapped in US-controlled ecosystems. The KAAN offers an escape. But here's where it gets strange. The KAAN has barely been tested. Turkish Aerospace Industries, TAI, unveiled the twin-engine, multi-role fighter with stealth shaping, internal weapons bays, and advanced sensor fusion. Its design blends Western combat standards with indigenous flexibility. On paper, it's impressive. In reality? The KAAN completed its first test flight in February 2023, less than 2 years ago. It's powered by twin General Electric F-110 engines borrowed from F-16s. Turkey's indigenous TF-35000 turbo engine is still in development, expected later this decade. Spain is considering a jet that doesn't fully exist yet. Defense Minister Margarita Robles sat across from European defense contractors in Brussels, early 2024. She asked about F-35 timelines. Answers were vague. Costs were escalating. Software updates were delayed. Then Turkish President Erdogan landed in Madrid with TAI engineers and a full presentation on the KAAN. Robles reviewed the specs. She asked one question: when can we start operational trials? Ankara's answer was immediate. Within 2 years. The KAAN's technical specifications read like ambition on a blueprint. Maximum speed, Mach 1.8, still unconfirmed in sustained flight. Combat radius, classified, but estimated around 1,000 kilometers. Weapons payload, up to 10 tons across internal and external hardpoints, superior to the F-35's 6-ton limit. It boasts cutting-edge avionics, including an Aselsan AESA radar and an advanced electronic warfare suite. Turkey claims the KAAN will enter squadron service by 2028. Spain's consideration hinges on whether that timeline holds. History says it won't. The F-35 program has been criticized globally for escalating maintenance costs, delayed software updates, and heavy reliance on US-based logistics chains. Spain, already committed to the joint Franco-German Future Combat Air System, FCAS, viewed these issues as barriers to long-term industrial independence. The KAAN offers an alternative, but it's untested in combat. No export track record. No proven supply chain. Spain would be the first Western European nation to bet on a non-US fifth-generation fight titanium spars cure under pressure in TAI's Ankara facility. Metal bending into airframe ribs, transforming raw material into the skeleton of ambition. Engineers weld seams that will carry pilots into contested airspace. Quality control is obsessive. One defect could collapse Turkey's export dream. They're building trust, one rivet at a time, and that changes NATO. For 7 decades, European defense meant American defense. Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon, they built the arsenal. Washington controlled supply chains, software, upgrades. If you wanted advanced weapons, you played by Pentagon rules. But Turkey proved you could build fifth-generation fighters outside the US system. Imperfectly, slowly, expensively, but possible. Spain saw the blueprint. France builds Rafales. Britain builds Tempests. Sweden builds Gripens. But Southern and Eastern Europe, dependent on American imports. Poland operates F-35s but can't modify them without US approval. Romania flies F-16s but can't export spare parts independently. Greece wants upgrades but waits for State Department clearance. Spain just showed them the exit door. The irony. Turkey was kicked out of NATO's most advanced program, then became NATO's alternative. By abandoning the F-35B, the short takeoff and vertical landing variant, Spain loses its only option for carrier-based stealth operations. The Spanish Navy's AV-8B Harrier II fleet, deployed aboard the Juan Carlos I carrier, is nearing retirement by the early 2030s. Without a STOVL replacement, Spain risks losing its carrier-based fixed-wing strike capability altogether. The KAAN, though technologically advanced, is not a STOVL aircraft, which limits its use at sea. Spain's consideration appears focused on its air and space force as an interim land-based stealth solution, bridging the gap until the European FCAS becomes operational in the 2040s. Engineer Ayşe Yılmaz works third shift at TAI's assembly plant in Ankara. She installs avionics modules that will control Spanish missions. She knows Spain could be Turkey's first European export customer. She also knows Turkey has never exported a fighter jet before. "We're building credibility," she says, tightening a bolt on a fuselage panel. Her supervisor monitors every weld. One failure could end Turkey's defense export ambitions. Composite panels harden in autoclaves. Black carbon fiber curing under heat and pressure, transforming fragile weaves into airframe skin stronger than steel. It looks like alchemy. It costs like desperation. Turkey has invested over $10 billion into KAAN development. Spain's interest is the first return on that decade-long bet. If Madrid walks away, Ankara's aerospace future stumbles. Spain and Turkey have already deepened defense ties. Madrid's decision to purchase 45 Harriers, advanced jet trainers from TI, to replace its aging F-5M fleet marked a major milestone in bilateral cooperation. The deal included software integration and avionics customization, setting a precedent for future KAAN collaboration. Turkey views such partnerships as opportunities to strengthen its geopolitical influence within NATO, while expanding defense exports beyond traditional Asian and Middle Eastern buyers. Spain's move could fracture NATO's defense procurement unity. But if Spain moves forward, if the KAAN flies Spanish missions, if NATO's southern flank operates stealth fighters independent of US approval, the defense world tilts. Smaller nations gain leverage. Technology monopolies crack. The F-35's $1.7 trillion program faces real competition. Not from Russia or China, but from a NATO ally that refused to stay dependent.